X5 is still one of the most packed cars. Motor power, up to 360 liters. Pages, 5 or 6-speed mechanics or adaptive, automatic, permanent all-wheel drive. In addition, most of the cars sold in Ukraine are equipped with adjustable air suspension, ABS with 2 subsystems of dynamic braking control, CBC and DBC, a stabilization system, dynamic stability control, DSC, and automatic downhill speed control, HDS. To match the technique and equipment of the Salon, all cars have an ignition key with an immobilizer and a built-in microchip, climate control with a carbon filter, an onboard computer with a large multimedia screen, 8 airbags, leather, natural wood. After restyling in 2004, the car changed not so much its appearance as its character. The X-Drive all-wheel drive, borrowed from the new BMW X3, has become intelligent instead of a free-center differential. Torque distribution in the ratio, 38% to the front axle, 62% to the rear. An electronically controlled multi-plate clutch has appeared. And now the moment between the axles is redistributed not by braking the slipping wheels, but by means of a clutch. The same clutch helps the car fit into turns, changing the nature of handling from rear-wheel drive to front-wheel drive and vice versa in time. The X-Drive system has improved the car's behavior on muddy and snowy roads, but you still can't call it a serious rogue, mainly because of the low ground clearance, 185mm, short travel suspension and automatic transmission on most copies. The body of the SUV is load-bearing, with subframes in the area where the front and rear suspensions are attached. The metal is protected so well that no traces of rust can be found even on the cars of the first years of production. The visibility from the driver's seat is not bad, in particular, due to the high seating position, but the wide A-pillars partially block the view when cornering. All controls are at hand, but access to the trunk, 465/1550L, could be better. Its floor is too high. The most common X5 engine in Ukraine is a 4.4-liter V-shaped 286 horsepower, 440 Nm, with the M62 index, 1999 to 2004, or N62, since 2004, similar to the installed for Bavarian sedans of the 5th and 7th series. Also popular is the 4.6-liter unit used only on this model, M62, 347 horsepower, 480 Nm. Less common is the inline 3.0-liter 6 M54, 231 horsepower, 300 Nm, known from the triples and fives of the 4th generation. The post-styled V8 with a volume of 4.8 liters and 62/S, 360 horsepower, 490 Nm, is a relative rarity. And the M57 turbo diesels, 1999 to 2004, and M57 TU, since 2004, with the common rail power system, 3.0L, 184 horsepower, 410 Nm, or 218 horsepower, 500 Nm, are respected by us for traction, 7.9s to 100 km/h, and efficiency, 6.9 to 11.1 L/100 km. High-performance engines provide variable intake track geometry and valve timing, Vanos, throttle-free speed control, Valvetronic, since 2004. These systems work flawlessly even on worn motors. The resource of motors as a whole is at least 300 to 400,000 kilometers. At some service stations, a major overhaul of the cylinder piston group is carried out. Aluminum blocks are bored and sleeved. Crankshafts after such a run still do not need to be polished. All motors are afraid of low-quality fuel. They periodically need to clean the nozzles, and only with a highly effective tool and without the use of ultrasound. This also applies to diesel injectors, which are quite expensive due to the piezoelectric drive, about UAH 1,500 per piece. Diesels, in addition, are disadvantageous in that in the event of wear of the fuel pump with an electronic control unit, they will literally fix it at 1 or 2 service stations in the country. Platinum candles of 3.0-liter engines can last up to 100,000 kilometers, and, unlike other models with the M54 unit, on the X5 they do not cause difficult starting in cold weather. The timing drive of all motors is chain, and the V-shaped motors have 5 chains. Together with sprockets, hydraulic tensioners, and dampers, they work until the overhaul of the unit. The plastic hose clamps of the cooling system hoses after several years of operation can dry out, and the cooling system will lose its tightness, which leads to overheating of the engine. In general, All X5 engines justify the reputation of reliable and durable units. All BMW X5s have permanent all-wheel drive. A single-stage transfer case and a non-blocking asymmetric center differential in operation do not cause any complaints. The electronically controlled multiplate clutch that replaced it in 2004 behaves in the same way. On the X's running on domestic roads, native CV joints and transmission shafts still serve without problems. Cardans, in case of violent damage, are officially considered non-reparable, but qualified specialists are able to restore them by replacing the crosses with subsequent balancing. Most of the X5s are equipped with 5, until 2004, and 6-speed automatic transmissions. On gasoline cars, this ZF design unit can fail overly active drivers, and there are many among BMW owners. Already by 150,000 kilometers, the friction clutches can burn out and the hydraulic pump loses its efficiency, and due to excessive loads, the input shaft sometimes cuts off. It is worth considering that a carefully operated X5 gearbox can serve up to 300,000 kilometers without repair. Restoring automatic machines is expensive, about 10,000 UAH. Besides, there are very few repairmen for such a gearbox. Like other transmission units, the automatic transmission is officially considered maintenance-free, but to extend its life, some experts recommend changing the oil and filter in it every 50,000 kilometers. Diesel engines are aggregated with automatic transmissions manufactured by GM. They are more durable, but it is problematic to find spare parts for them in Ukraine. Mechanics 5, until 2004, and 6-speed. It works without changing the oil, but some experts still recommend changing it every 60,000 kilometers. The clutch serves up to 300,000 kilometers. Its hydraulic drive does not cause any comments. The car is harsh on bumps, because the chassis is sharpened for high-speed driving on the highway. The clearance of 185 mm is small for storming arable land, gullies, and tank tracks, but electronic systems effectively help to overcome wet and snowy country roads. The service life of the undercarriage is highly dependent on the driving style of the driver. For some pilots, the replacement of silent blocks and ball bearings of the front part, possibly separately from the levers, is required already by 30 to 40,000 kilometers. But it is not uncommon for a car where this operation, price of work, 280 UAH, is carried out no more than 60 to 80,000 kilometers. A multi-link rear suspension requires the intervention of mechanics even less often, usually by 100,000 kilometers. Its consumable parts, silent blocks and ball joints, except one, are supplied complete with 3 levers. However, service stations specializing in beamers are able to replace the silent blocks of the lower arm with Ukrainian products, quite reliable. The front-end springs do not let down even avid racers. Most cars have a rear air suspension that automatically maintains ground clearance. Occasionally there are cars with the same front suspension. Pneumatic elements of the rear part, the price of one is UAH 1240, although they are durable, do not like when the machine is overloaded. By the way, the presence of excess cargo on board is signaled by a special lamp on the dashboard. Long enough, shock absorbers run up to 100,000 kilometers, and the specialists who advised us did not record cases of wear of wheel bearings. The steering of the car is quite sharp. Rack and pinion mechanism is reparable. Therefore, in the event of a knock in the rack support bearing or oil seal leaks, worn parts can be replaced. There are no vulnerabilities in the power steering pump, and the tie rod ends are replaced with a run of about 100,000 kilometers. All 4 SUV brakes are disc brakes. The most active drivers need to monitor the condition of the pads. Their front pads will wear out after 12 to 15,000 kilometers, and the discs after 60 to 70,000 kilometers. Numerous electronic systems in the BMW X5 work well and last a long time. However, there are problems with the generator. In V-shaped engines, it, being built into the cylinder block, is washed by the coolant. O-rings that dry out over time lose their tightness, so with each maintenance of the middle-aged X5, you need to inspect the installation site of the generator. The car is really good, and those who have the money to buy and maintain it are unlikely to ever regret their purchase. The main thing is to choose a car that is not rolled with the hot driver, which are so often found among fans of the glorious Bavarian brand.